Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the American Fitbaw Cast. I went a bit local radio host there, didn't I? Gee, wow.
Is it the surprise that we've actually made it to 14 episodes?
14 episodes!
It was like Radio 4 I was listening to there.
And now time for the Archers. Whatever the tune is, I don't even know.
We've made it to the regular season. How's that happened?
Why are we not on IR?
But half the league got put on IR last weekend. It was awful.
So, as normal, I am joined by Gav and Steve. How are you both?
Aye, not bad. I'm so glad football was back.
Oh my
so
God.
happy on Sunday. I was like, you know, the whole saying about the kid in the sweet shop and how happy they are and like this. I genuinely sat there for 3 hours going, this is the greatest day since probably this time last year.
I mean, for me personally, football coming back, not only was it back, but the things that happened last week probably couldn't have been any better for me personally. All my favourite things happened.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to in a minute.
Just some lunatic stuff happened. It was just amazing.
It really was. So let's get straight into it. Highlights from this week.
We do just round the houses?
Yeah, let's go straight into some highlights.
Can I please go first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron fucking Rodgers.
I knew you were going to go with that.
Yeah.
I am to halfway. I've got the minute Chicago are 17-0 up, and I will be looking to watch the second half tonight, where it all goes. But reading about it was just insane
Yes.
stuff.
There is no...
Has he earned his whole new contract just on that one display?
He's the GOAT.
He is.
I think
there's no way
there's the more times he comes up with something like this, the more of the argument is when people are saying, "Oh no, but Brady," or the guys of yesteryear and whatnot.
You could maybe argue Brady is the more consistent, higher performer, but Brady can't do what Rodgers can do.
Yeah,
he can't.
100%. But can Rodgers?
Has Donny Taylor left the podcast?
The question we've got to ask is: can Rodgers do what Ryan Fitzpatrick can do?
Oh,
he was
on fire.
The boy's just earned himself another 45 million in another 3 years backing up people. That was one of. I mean, there's quite a lot of wild results, but that, as it was happening in the 6 o'clock games, that was the one that every time they did the score update, you know, in between a break, and I was like, what, the Bucks have got more? What is actually going on in this game? They're away to the Saints, who last year that should have been 40-5, you know, and they went on the road 48-40, which is just lunacy. He was perfect on receptions to Jackson and Evans. What was it? Something daft, like 15 for 15, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. It was just lunacy what was going on.
And like the way the game started as well, so Kamara scores a touchdown after like 3 minutes or whatever it was. You're like, right, here we go, yeah. The Saints are going to absolutely steamroll them. It's just everything's going to the script, and then the Bucks.
And I mean, Kamara still did what Kamara does through the game. They finished with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, do you think that this is... We'll get to the Saints maybe a little bit later as well, but just whilst we're speaking about their offense, do you think that... Because Mike Gillisley did play, he fumbled, and I think he finished on minus yards. Do you think that having Ingram there might have changed the trajectory of that game?
They said that a lot. They said that part of the problem, and it'll be apparent in the next few weeks as well with the Saints, is their defence will get tired a lot quicker because Ingram isn't there to bleed out the clock, and Kamara can't quite do the same things he does. I think he's way more pivotal than anyone even realised.
Yeah.
Because no one thought about this in the off-season. I mean, you've who's picked them on the bench?
I've got them.
You've got them from the bench, and then in the other league you've got them.
No.
In the 21.
So we're in a fantasy league with a lot of other UK podcasts and bloggers and fan
I'm assuming
sites
listeners as well. Thank you.
Yes, so some of them do listen to us. Don't know why. Why did they listen to us? Because we scored the most points out of all of yous in week 1. So suck it.
By quite a bit as well, wasn't it?
We were 99 points ahead of our opponent before the Sunday night game or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I mean,
we won
by about 60 points.
It was something else.
We had an excellent draft strategy.
Yes.
We're on the clock. Who do we like?
And we still have Mark Ingram to come back in that as well.
Yeah.
So
flipping back to so I think a lot of people were. I mean, he did this last year. The two of them were this 2-headed monster and whatnot. But actually, I think a lot of people got caught up with the hype of Kamara and his rookie breakout season. No one quite appreciated what Ingram did.
Yeah, because he still was over 1,000 yards, wasn't he? And
over
1,000
some
yards
decent amount. I don't want to say 9-10 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah,
it was still plenty reasonable enough.
He catches out the backfield the same as Kamara, maybe just not as explosive as Kamara.
Yeah. So we'll see how they go for the next few weeks, because I think the Saints they'll be one of the few teams that I'll be eating my words on, I think.
Oh my
when we did it from our division previews.
Yeah, so he was 1,124 yards for 12 touchdowns
last year
in 2017.
Yeah,
Mark Ingram.
any team in the league will take that.
That's a starting running back for 90% of teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Insane.
So
what else was insane? There was so much
Jets.
stuff.
Have you seen what they came out and said today? Or it must have been yesterday, I suppose. Darren Lee, one of the linebackers from the Jets, he's come out and said we knew every single signal that they were
Stafford
calling.
I seen that, which was really interesting.
That's a big statement.
That is, yeah. And I mean, they've got 5 interceptions. Was it? Aye. I mean,
and Stafford's a good quarterback. We spoke about him last week about he's really consistent. His completion rate. He's got good wide receivers. Marvin Jones, Golden Tate.
And the first play of the game being Darnold's pick 6.
Yeah,
so they were already off to a slow start, and they just blew it out of nowhere. Was it 48-17? I mean, on the road, the most amount of points as Jets have ever scored away from home.
Yeah.
Just
incredible.
Unreal. So I imagine Hammy's absolutely buzzing for Sam Darnold now. Like, do you know how they say the average life of a tweet is an hour? Of course, when the beginning of that game, everyone was like, "Oh, why the fuck did we pick him? We should have him somebody else." No. And, all the Twitter was blowing up with all these people raging on Darnold, and I bet you by the end of the game they were all like,
"He's retweeting them all."
Suckers. So that was pretty crazy. Browns tying.
Yes, that was where I was going next. So
stop for 1 second. See, just speaking right now. So many amazing things happened on week 1 now that I've thought about it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited speaking about this.
Yeah. You actually got that buzz. Yeah. So the awesome Jets.
Sorry, so the Browns,
So the first opening day tie since 1978.
One thing that...
Good stat.
71.
That is a good stat.
Yeah,
One thing that I think... One thing I seen on Twitter that I found hilarious was... the Browns finding the Browns way of ending a losing streak.
Yes. So only the Browns can end a losing streak by not winning. NFL.
And if they just tie it, the memes are going around for the just. What I seen a brilliant stat as well about this. So, it's kind of I don't quite know how to explain it, but I'll just say this stuff and it'll make sense as to why I mentioned it. So Cleveland got 5 takeaways, right? Which is lunacy. I mean, that's really solid for your defense in the game. Teams that have 5 takeaways or plus 5 takeaway differential have won 124 games, lost 4 games, and tied 1. So we know Cleveland's the tie. Cleveland also count for 2 of the 4 losses. It's like, oh dear, what a shame.
Right. So there's still got to be concerns there over their offense.
O-line, they gave up 7 sacks, I think it was. TJ Watt got 4 himself.
I think
it was 3
Thomas.
A lot of people said he retired 1 year too early. Actually, if he'd come back 1 more year,
if your defense is taking the ball off their offense 5 times and you're still not winning the game,
I don't know though. So I would think that if they're playing any lesser level teams, you've got to remember how good the Steelers actually are. And I think if they're playing that game against the Colts, the Dolphins, the Titans, they win that game.
They're laughing, yes.
It's just I think the opposition they're playing was a good opposition. I see a lot of positives for the
I think it makes your argument of when you said you could realistically see them going 8-8. Actually, that's proof itself. I think the fact that how much fight they gave on week 1, and because it was the Browns, and we all are secretly. Well, I am secretly. I am big time. Anyway, just because how awful they've been the last 2 years.
I think one major positive, just before you jump in, Andrew, was Taylor and Landry's connection looked like it was on point.
Yeah.
I know Taylor threw the interception when he was aiming for Gordon, which he underthrew, but him and Jarvis Landry look like they have that immediate chemistry, which I think is really important because Landry's a first down receiver. He's the one that gets you over the line and keeps the offense moving. So I think that was a major positive for the Browns.
Yep.
Other big thing that came out of that game, and obviously we discussed the Lev Bell situation last year. last week.
Last year.
So it felt like a long time ago. Last week. But their backup running back, James Conner, did quite well.
134 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
I think was the final stat.
Something like
so
that.
Much so, did you see what the Steelers did when they updated their depth chart this week?
Did they put him to the top?
Lev Bell's not even on the running backs list.
Wow.
They have removed his name completely from their own depth chart.
It was one of my points that I want to speak about later, but
we'll just fire into it.
Just fire into it. So
relevant.
I think James Conner finished, I think it was 29.9 fantasy points.
That's decent.
I wonder who picked him up. Didn't make any difference. I still lost, but
Did you got him?
yeah, I got him.
No,
Someone might have picked him up in our PPR league. He had 31 attempts and left him on their bench and feels rather sick.
Harsh.
Yeah, that hurt.
Is that the difference between winning and losing?
It was a really
Would it
close
be?
game, so yeah, I think it would have been.
Yeah, I think I know seriousness. So Connor was a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
So he's not a daft punt. Does he do? That's one game, but does he do damage to Lev Bell's situation? Does this put the Steelers back in control?
I'm just going to call it and say yes. I think Lev Bell's put not
He's all in.
Poison's
He's all
the
in
wrong
himself.
word. He's doing the business side of it. You know, he's holding out. He thinks he deserves the contract. Blah blah blah. And that's all fine. I'm okay. I'm not massively against that. But to the point that he didn't report for week 1, and his own teammates are starting to turn against him, and then Connor comes out and does that.
Yeah, because he done the same thing. He was.
Is he in trouble though?
I think
he might be for this year, but
he's
he's
not
going
in
to
trouble.
get
Someone
he's
will,
going to
like,
get paid in free agency next year.
A Titans or
Someone will definitely
Dolphins or Bills. The Bills are going to have plenty of money, and they're going to have lots next week to play with.
Yeah, I mean,
might have a running back in jail as well next year.
What?
LaShawn McCoy, have you not seen this about batting his?
Oh no, he got away with that.
Oh, does it mean?
Yeah, I see. I know that you're on about. Yeah, no, there's not. There's not even enough evidence for the NFL to ban him games. Shady indeed.
But yeah, so back to the point then. I think the fact that Connor was a 3-down back, he caught the ball, ran the ball, touchdowns. I think that does put Bell in at least a difficult situation for this year.
yeah.
See how much he's losing in his weekly game check.
Was it 800k?
855 or 885,000 or something like that a week that he's losing mentally. It's a lot of money to give up. So he obviously believes he's worth it, and he's just not keen on signing with him just for the 1 year.
He doesn't want to play on a contract that undervalues him. That's what he says. So.
Okay, what about anything else from this week?
Will we jump back to the Bills?
Oh my god!
Just how awful they were. I could. I mean, we all touted them for 4th in the East State, and based on pre-season because they hadn't quite sorted out
We're
what
gonna
they
finish
were
5th
doing.
at this rate.
It's just a very new category just for them. Worst team in history ever. I'm already calling. I'm already calling them for the 1st overall pick. It is just awful. It's their O-line. Yeah, the Baltimore defense is good, but they're going to struggle against any team because they can't generate anything.
They've got no wide receivers. I think we spoke about before. Their O-line's been decimated.
Yeah, if McCoy is going to be any good, right, and I know it's a big if because he's got other things going on, but every team is going to be chucking 8 or 9 in the box now because they're going to be like, well, none of these two can actually beat us through the air.
How bad was that though? Like Nathan Peterman was your starting quarterback and you subbed him out in the first game, regardless of what the score was.
You've got to give him a chance.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. McDermott's really in a tight spot with what he does, and if it goes horribly wrong, he might unfortunately be the fall guy. But I don't think it's his fault. I don't think all of this is massively his fault.
Did they go too? Well, obviously you don't know.
How good Josh Allen.
Yeah. Did they not do enough in free agency? Because I can't even really think of who they picked up.
Did they pick the wrong guy?
Yeah, we don't know that about any of these guys
that's the fun one. But
I think they definitely picked the wrong.
Free agent because McCarron.
AJ McCarron.
They could have had. I mean, as much as Keenum wasn't great in
Teddy
week 1,
Bridgewater.
if you take oh god, they may fly in and take
what was
him
it?
now. I like that shot.
It's already just been traded
to the Saints. Was that 6th,
Yeah.
5th? I can't even remember what it was.
It was decent value anyway,
Something
whatever
like
it was.
So
if they come jumping down and say,
so
right,
you
we'll
think
give
it
you a
could
second
have
for him.
balanced? Why do you not do something like that? Why would you take AJ McCarron didn't even have a good record before he
$40, yeah. But they got him on the fly. It was 2 years for $10 million or something. It wasn't a huge contract.
Okay. So
anyway, poor Bills. We're jumping all over them, but actually they
deserved it.
Descent defensively. Yeah, it was just a nightmare.
Now, I don't want to talk about the Cardinals game on Sunday.
Well, I do.
But I do want to talk about David Johnson signing a new contract.
All right, yeah.
Because he's awesome and he got paid and I'm happy.
3 years, $39 million.
Yeah, so
what did Gurley get? 3 years, 42.
4 year. Did he not 4 years?
It wasn't much different. Was the point I was sort of trying to allude to anyway, which is actually so that's good for Johnson. I think it's good for the Cardinals. To That's not a lot of money to give away.
Yeah, I thought it was good value for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
To give them that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to speak about the Cardinals, but I do want to speak about the Redskins.
What I have written down is we suggested...
We do not speak about watching the Cardinals game.
Earlier on, before we started recording, we said we'd talk about biggest disappointments, and I just wrote Cardinals defence.
Mm-hmm. What was it, 19 takeaways they got in their 4 preseason games?
Something like that.
And I know it's
it was
preseason,
crazy.
and what did they actually manage to do on...
A pile of pish.
Yeah, but...
And what did we I think we spoke about Alex Smith before. He just
Geriatric Adrian Peterson just fucking walked through the middle of them.
Something else.
He looked good.
Comeback player of the year? That was you.
That wasn't
that
there you go.
my call.
There's your positive out of that.
He did look good. Because he even caught the ball. I think it was like a 30-yard play that he caught the ball and ran with. I was like, what?
Crazy.
He also looked good the first time he played for the Cardinals last year. And then he went to shit.
Yeah.
I think the advantage that we have as a Redskins fan is, I think we spoke this last time, is we've got depth at running back. We don't have to play him every down.
Yeah.
You didn't really have that luxury last year, so his body can be kept.
Yep.
Fresher.
And I think we have a better offensive line as well. So
easily.
Well,
did you read Power Rankings this week?
I
have not seen it yet.
Have you not read it yet? Oh, okay. Harrison and Power Ranking, he was actually saying based on, if you continue to play you did on Sunday, you're going to be challenging the Eagles for division winner, which is pretty bold. I don't know if you're quite there.
We're not.
But I get his point. I get his point saying actually, if you were, you might be third, but maybe second against the Giants, if depending on what's going on, it's now actually probably,
I was really happy. I mean, Chris Thompson came back, he looked good.
Jordan Reed didn't get injured. And got a touchdown, and I think it was the first offensive play for the Redskins, or one of the first offensive plays where Smith threw down the middle to Reed, and it reminded me of how good Reed can be. So yeah, it was really happy from a Redskins point of view. And Quinton Dunbar, fun fact, I think I spoke about this before, he was I think he was like a 6th or 7th round pick at wide receiver, and we converted him to a cornerback, and he picked off Sam Bradford. So that was a good one to see. So yeah, it was really positive from a Redskins point of view, and it's a road one, so that's even better for us.
Yeah.
Okay, what about play of the week? Anyone got any plays that they really liked? I've got one.
Go on.
One that's two.
I bet it's the same person I'm thinking about.
Right, so I'm going to go just because I'm not going to talk about Tyreek Hill, who you're both going to talk about.
That's where Gav was going, yeah.
We spoke about it on the last podcast. I think the Eagles Philly Special 2.0 play of the week.
Yeah, that was insane. That was quite good.
So yeah, let's talk about Tyreek Hill.
Oh my god.
Is it the punt return?
Both. I've just put Tyreek Hill times 2.
Yeah.
So you got the punt return, his first touch of the season, which he returns for 90
plus yards.
Yes,
93 or 98.
Made a mockery of the Chargers special teams.
Do you know what I love about watching him is he's going so fast, but it doesn't look like he's going fast. Mm-hmm. It's almost like slow motion, and like his celebration is it's like a total dick move where he just waves to the defense as he runs by them, and I love it.
It's pretty ballsy to do that.
And then about 10 minutes later, he's got 2 touches in the game, 150 odd yards and 2 touchtouchdowns.
It's just lunacy. Did he get 33 fantasy points or something? It's just mental.
There's no wide receiver like him right now.
I put a question mark on this. Do you think he could actually get Offensive Player of the Year?
You could.
Do you think he beats out? Do you think? I mean, I'd always love it to be that the MVP is going to be a quarterback. That's always the way.
Yeah.
That's fine. Deal with that. But Offensive Player of the Year then cannot be a quarterback. They did it last year. They gave it to Gurley, and he deserved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think Whitey could get it?
I think if he does these sort of things week in, week out, and absolutely. And I think the advantage that Mahomes has, being a rookie, if you overthrow it, you've got the fastest player in the league to run on to get it.
Yep.
So, the manoeuvrability of Hill will help Mahomes this year a lot. And I think the Chiefs' offense as a whole is too hard to focus in on one area. I know Kelsey got injured in this game, but you've got Hunt, you've got Sammy Watkins, you've got Hill. It's too hard to, and Mahomes is mobile as well, so it's too hard to plan your defense against one area of the Chiefs' offense. So he has every chance.
He was a lot better than I expected him to be. I thought he might have that kind of rookie growing pains type thing, but he just seems to have come out of the gate flying. I mean, I know he was basically benched last year to learn, which gives you a head start.
Yeah, but he wasn't
God.
learning from a total nugget.
No, exactly. It looks like the new coordinator, I don't know the person's name, but he seems to have come in and taken over the offense and kept the Nagy type, wild plays going on.
It's hard to predict. But yeah, so Tyreek Hill times 2. We going with that in Hillstad?
No, because I didn't think of any plays. That was terrible.
Okay. Okay, what about biggest disappointments of the week? Andrew, you said the Cards. What were you disappointed about?
Everything.
Okay. Easy.
Move on.
End of. I'm retiring my cardinalship.
It was just an underwhelming start.
When everything promised so well in the pre-season, and then you come out, and it's not like, I almost got the impression that I haven't seen anything, so this is just purely on score and reaction from the writing. Was there wasn't an awful lot of fight. It was a bit of a demolition. It wasn't Bills against Ravens. Let's be honest. There's different levels here.
Yeah,
but
I mean, to go down
I predicted score 24-21
against. I mean, I know
greatest
it's
team in the NFC East. Don't know what's wrong with it.
Let's be honest. It's against a middling team.
Just gonna
You're
leave
saying
these
that
two
as though the
kids
Cardinals
to
are
fight
so
out.
superior.
No, but the Cardinals are a middling team as well, and you shouldn't be getting rolled over and having your tummy tickled like that against a team that should be of a similar standing.
Okay.
Do you play to the Bills next week by any chance? That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Bounce back.
No, you've got LA. I looked at it. You've
got the Rams.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So, biggest winning margin in the league next week? That'll be to the Rams.
And Sam Bradford revenge game.
Oh, it will. That'll be
So,
interesting. Maybe juicy underlying story going on there.
I
like
don't.
those little things.
Yeah, but Donald will break his knee.
Donald
and that'll be
Sue.
it. And Rosen will be in. And
Did you
here
see
we go.
Did
On
you
to
see
the new world.
basically Carr did not throw to either side. He only targeted Peters and Talib for a combined 5 passes
Why
in the
would
whole
you,
game.
man?
That's why Jared Cook got
One thing
180
I
yards
actually
for Oakland.
wrote down is Raiders didn't look awful.
By all accounts, yes. They were tied going into the half. It was 13-13.
So I mean, I was up at 3 o'clock yesterday morning. Thanks, work. But the bright side of that was that I got to see about 20 minutes of the Rams Raiders game as I was getting ready to leave the house, and I saw 2 touchdowns. I was like, good 20 minutes to watch, yes. So the little snippets that I saw, the Raiders looked alright.
Yeah, I think their defense played generally okay. They just got worn down as the game got on, because their offense wasn't quite giving them enough to keep them rested. And I think it was just ultimately the length of the game was almost too long. That sounds stupid to say because it's exactly the same amount of time, but I mean the defense was actually balling in the first half, and there were sack fumbles as Irvin got a sack or something. He got a few things anyway going on that was quite good, and then it was only in the second half that the Rams kind of got their shit together and battered in 20 points to win the game comfortably enough.
Moving on to another disappointment, the Saints defense.
Yeah,
I know we spoke about how good Fitzpatrick was, but this shouldn't have happened.
No, because last year on paper, defense they were really good with it, not
Didn't Lattimore shut out Mike Evans last time they played?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
didn't they have a bit of a beef?
Yeah.
And then Evans has just torched him.
But what happened the last time Lattimore played a competitive game? The Vikings.
Oh, did they wreck him?
Was that not?
Oh, was that the
play?
Diggs catch? Was that the end of the game?
The play.
Oh, was that against him?
not
Oh, right.
against him?
I can't remember. I can't remember. who
Sure, it
played.
was against him.
Aye. Do you think that's just totally demoralised them to the point? It's
could.
like, that's it. I've got my rookie of the year.
Let me make sure I'm not talking.
I'm now just going to take my
pish.
paychecks. No, actually, yeah.
I
that's
seen
maybe
Cameron
worse.
Jordan came out and was like lambasting that it happened. It seemed really like.
Which is it? But when you start getting the internal rumblings coming out, that's not a good sign. It was funny in the Sky Studio. Neil Reynolds said to Rob Ryan, "Oh, they need some help in the defence. Are you going to go back down?"
Okay, I'm just talking pish. It was someone else.
I was a bit confused with what you're on about. I was like,
I generally didn't know, so that was all good.
yeah.
Yeah, they regressed. Yeah,
They've got the Browns this week though, so in terms of bounce back,
okay. Yeah,
that's probably
What you
well,
want.
apart from the Bills,
yeah.
that's probably someone you'd want to play because if anyone's capable of making a game easy for you, it's the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
It's a home game to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose to the Bucks and the Browns, your first two games, you're in serious trouble.
It's bodes well
Yeah.
for a run of the mill season.
Could happen.
Yeah, could. Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
saying that.
definitely
The Browns have that much fight. I mean, I put that under my disappointment of the week, but it's not really. It's just from a different point. I'm getting so close, but not actually winning it.
Oh, the
that
Browns,
was the
yeah.
bit I was disappointed about because they did not miss a field goal. Was there not something quite near the end? They could have. They had a chance to win it.
They did, and it wasn't. Was it what, a 42-yard attempt? But it was pissing down the rain.
Ah, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's a shame, but yeah, they were so close. Yeah.
So Steelers missed a field goal, and in fact, no, the Browns one was blocked. Was it not?
Was it blocked right?
I think it was blocked.
I didn't see it. I missed it.
Yeah, but they were so close. I put the Bills' awful performance down as a disappointment. I mean, we kind of knew it, but so it shouldn't have been like
so bad,
surprising.
yeah.
It was the level of how bad it was.
And I think it's more the fact that you can't see any hope.
Yeah,
You can't see like how they can turn it around because didn't they lose? They lost Reggie Ragland to the Chiefs, I think.
Yep.
So that's and they traded him, wasn't it? Which
I can't remember what for.
Or was it the Bears? I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's the Chiefs. But
Ragland went to the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
But then they drafted Tremaine Edmonds. Is that his name?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, pick 16. Yeah, which should have been the replacement for that anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a lot to fix.
Yeah.
And yeah, McDermott's not got a lot of time to turn it around. In the NFL, you don't get that.
Poor you, Bills fans. You're in for a long ass season.
So on to next week. So the Bills have got the Chargers. So
Oh, I've got the Chargers defense on my bench. It's a shame they played so shit in week 1.
yeah, but they've got the Bills, so at least they'll get a bounce back. I'm
no,
just thinking games
possibly
of
no
the
Joey
week.
Bosa though.
Steelers and Chiefs. That could be a
that'd
good
be good.
game.
That's the 6 o'clock game on Sky.
Buccaneers against the Eagles. Given
Eagles.
what the
I know, that could
the
be
Bucks have
fireworks.
come off of.
That could be another 48-40.
yeah. Jets, Dolphins.
Jets might win that.
Ugh.
Falcons, Panthers, a big divisional game there.
Panthers will win, probably just.
Yeah, a few interesting games next week. So we're going to talk some fantasy.
Fantasy.
What did you want to talk about fantasy?
I think the
you
first
always talk about fantasy, Gav.
I think the first thing I want to speak about, this is my own. This is based on my own personal team, but the actual importance of a defense and a good kicker. The two most probably undervalued positions when it comes to fantasy. But this week in fantasy, my kicker and my defense managed to score me -1 points. Which, when I got beat, I got beat by 11 points. So I think if a kicker and a defense has a normal performance, I'm maybe winning that. I'm maybe closer than 10 points away.
Yeah, I was -3. I had the Chargers defense against the Chiefs, and that cost me.
I don't even know
I was
what I had on that.
so smug. I was like, I've got the Saints. They're going to absolutely blitz the Bucks. And then I was like,
but all accounts they should have. It wasn't a bad pick prior to. You don't know.
Mine's got 17 points and I lost because the other guy's got 24.
Oh Jesus!
so there you go. That's better than wide receiver numbers, most running back numbers. The importance of these positions and kickers as well. Like, you get 5 points for a 50-yard field goal. So
yeah, so mine was split. My kicker had 12 and my defense only had 5.
But yeah, that's a big swing, you know. So I think that I just wanted to point out, you know, it's important. They don't get much love, but actually,
particularly when everyone just streams in and out and tries to play the matchups, but it's very much an afterthought.
And that's the way that I play it. But I just think it's important to.
I think people think if they've got the quarterback, the running backs, and the wideys sorted, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, damn right it does.
And when you look at the numbers the top defense puts up, it's similar to like top wide receiver numbers, like 140 plus points.
If you think how many games last season you lost by 1 or 2 points, you know what I mean? That's the difference. Paying attention to those last two positions will get you over that hump.
Yep.
I say that like I actually did it last year. I didn't, and that cost me. So.
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And then the next thing I thought was a couple of sneaky waiver picks that people could look at. Andrew, you had one person?
Austin Eckler of the Chargers is who I've picked up on waivers this week. He was 5 attempts for 39 yards at the weekend there. I had him at the back end of last season as well. Seemed to perform quite well, and I'm sure I saw somewhere someone else suggesting that he would be a good pick.
Is he running back?
Running back for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Is he playing that old sort of Danny Woodhead type? Darren Sproles, gadget back. I'm talking about people you don't even. You were probably weren't even born when he played.
Way over my head.
I knew who you were talking about. I think Eckler's more.
Kamara's a new example of that, but to the nth degree. He's a level above. But then what they used to have in the older days was you'd have the scat back, what they called it, which was the running back that would go out, get the handoffs and take a couple of yards and whatnot.
I think Eckler's. I think he's probably a little bit more than that actually, because I think when Gordon was injured last year, I think he put up some really good numbers last year as well. And Gordon does have a tendency to get injured as well. So
yeah, I mean, I picked him up on waivers in our league. I imagine in most 10, 12 team leagues. There or thereabouts, probably a good bench addition at least.
I also snapped up similar sort of thing, TJ Yeldon, because Fournette went down.
Yes,
and
that's quite a good
Yeldon
shout.
Picked up, I think it was a touchdown. I think he finished on like 13 fantasy points or whatever. So 60, 70 yards in there somewhere. Like behind a good defensive line, behind a team that's going to run the ball. Fournette's got an injury history. So I'm quite happy with that one. But
so have you picked him up on waivers as well?
Yeah, I picked him up.
So I just noticed we have a group chat for our fantasy league, and Hammy, who appeared on the podcast a few weeks ago, has just said, Gav, we carried on with you pipping me to the waiver capers you did early last year. So I suggest Hammy had already looked at him and you've stolen from under his nose.
Two other ones that I wanted to point out that because I didn't want to just say pick these people because I've picked them. Martavis Bryant is just about to re-sign with the Raiders.
Yep.
I dropped him when he got cut. No surprise there. But I do think he is going to have that chip on his shoulder this year. So if you're looking for a wide receiver, pick up Martavis Bryant. The second one that I really liked, Corey Coleman signed for the Patriots.
Now I've seen this, yes.
And if the Patriots are so good at these sort of 1 year flyer type people, and they need help whilst Edelman's out.
Okay, counter. I'm going to slightly counter on this, right? And only from. He went to the Bills and he didn't even make the Bills roster, considering how awful they were. And the reason for that was because he couldn't pick up the playbook. Philip Dorsett struggled to pick up the playbook in New England last year, and he got away with it to the point that they've kept him on this year. But are they going to give Coleman the same amount of time? No.
Well, it's a 1 year deal. What I would say though is he's a first round talent. He was a high first round talent. He was 6th, 7th overall, something like that.
I want to say 9th, but
something. Yeah. It was something.
It was fairly high.
So the fact that the Patriots have taken him, he's going to have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times thrown to him. So if he can just pick up what he needs to pick up, he's got a good chance. And it does feel like the
teams that were double teaming Gronk anyway.
Exactly.
So that frees up a wee bit of space in the back end.
And you've got Chris Hogan one side who's no mug.
They've got I previously mentioned Dorsett, albeit wasn't great last year. You know, he was a high pick for the Indy when they got him as well.
He was a first round as well.
I think he was first round. Right? Cordell Patterson, who we don't really know what version of him they're going to get, but if they can deploy him in some kind of offensive weapon role. Do you remember who that was? Offensive weapon?
Yes.
You won.
The Jags.
This is
I
a couple
knew he
years
was a
ago.
Jags player because
Oh,
I've spoken
God.
about him before.
I picked him up before. Fuck, what was his name again?
Michigan quarterback,
Oh
turned running
I
back.
can see it. No, you're gonna have to put me in my misery.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
Just
fuck.
I can't remember his name.
Andrew, please use the power of the internet.
No, it was hilarious because
They
the
tried to get a new
Jags
position?
the Jags created a new position for him and officially put him on their depth chart under offensive. Denard
Offensive
Robinson.
weapon. Denard Robinson, that's it.
It was offensive weapon, and NFL told them after like week 1 or something, put him as a running back. You can't have that. You're not creating new shit in this. You know, this is our we make the rules here. That was quite funny. I don't think he did that great in the end, really, for his career. But is he even still playing?
No, I
did you
don't
get
think
as far
so.
as finding? No, okay, no.
Don't know.
Don't really know, but never mind.
Yeah, so Bryant and Coleman are my two shouts to go have a sniff at. They might do nothing, but if you're looking for people to take flyers on, I think they're good shouts. And yeah, the Raiders did look better than what we thought, so maybe there's hope if you throw in Martavis Bryant. The other thing,
I'll throw in a sneaky one. I've only literally just thought about it, and teams may have already planned this far ahead. Chicago defense. I didn't give them anywhere near enough credit than what I realised when I was watching the game. They were a top 10 defense last year, and they've added Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
What did Mack do? He got a sack, a fumble recovery for a pick six, single-handedly. Just was amazing. It was just unreal.
First person to do that since.
Khalil Mack, according to a tweet. But then he said 2012, so I wasn't really too sure. I got a bit confused with that because that was obviously in college career rather than. But it could be no one has done it in, since.
yeah, it's
So they had already got a top 10 defense, and they've added a really strong piece.
yeah.
That's probably. But if they're floating around in your league as a backup defense, just snap them, chuck them on the bench anyway. They're going to have a couple of matchups throughout the season where they should be laughing.
And actually, even when they get beat, they still pick up points. So because they are that good.
No minuses from them this week.
Nope.
Regardless of Rodgers.
One other player. This was a player to try and trade for. If they're there for free, then by all means pick them up on the waivers. If they're on someone's team, this is someone I thought you should try and go for. And it's a little bit strange, but I thought Sammy Watkins from the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason behind it is because of what Tyreek Hill's just done.
Mm-hmm.
I think teams
He's
are
going to get much more attention.
Even so Hill already got attention. That's a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reminder that you don't sleep on that guy.
And people will be paying attention for Kelsey, even though he only got 27 yards or something.
Yeah.
He didn't get much, but
and
got to be aware if you put him on the other side, Watkins, he's going to have targets as long as he can connect with Mahomes.
And there's again a first round talent. He's undoubted. We know he's good. He just can't do it consistently. Can't find the right home. I think this situation is primed for him to do really well. I'm not saying he's going to be, your fantasy saviour, but I think he's got every chance of being a sneaky good play, especially in the right sort of matchups. So if you look and see for games where teams have got weaker secondaries, Watkins has got every chance. Or if they've only got one good, secondary,
you're struggling for a flex player. There'll definitely be weeks where having him as your.
And I don't think you'd have to give up too much to get him.
No, because a lot of people will just view him as a bench player, generally speaking, anyway. So
So that's the way that I thought. But I thought there's no point in saying go trade for Russell Wilson because we all know he's good.
Yep.
There's no point in saying trade for Odell Beckham because we know he's good. So I thought let's try and keep it people that you might not necessarily think of, and it keeps it interesting.
Le'Veon Bell.
I know. Going back to him,
right? You've got him on your roster.
I don't.
No, I'm saying if you've got him on your roster,
I've got James Conner.
Do you trade him away?
Do you trade him away? What do you take for him?
That's a good question.
It's a tricky one, eh? The more this rumbles on, the more I'm thinking, I'm just going to cut him, get rid of him.
See, the way I always play fantasy is to run the table when it matters. And
think about
Bell's
further down the
probably
line.
going to be there at the end of the season.
He's going to be there at some point. But
do you give up a first round player to get him?
I wouldn't. Not for the amount of time that you're going to miss. Like, so I picked up Dalvin Cook and Odell Beckham. I wouldn't trade any of those for a guy that I don't know when's coming.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm with you on that.
If, say, for example, someone offered me, just for talking sakes, like a Jay Ajayi, and maybe a half decent wide receiver like an Allen Robinson or something like that, I would do it. I would do it that way, but I wouldn't do it for. I wouldn't. If I'm the Bell owner, that's my sort of minimum expectation. Sort of maybe a 4th round running back, somewhere around about that area, and.
Would you give away Ajayi and Robinson to get Bell?
No, that was just an example. Like I'm not sure.
It's totally different viewpoints as to if you have him and you're getting rid of him versus if somebody's offering him to you.
But
you know,
that would be my expectation. I would want something that is good, because I know when Bell's coming back, if he comes back, he's going to put up numbers. But it is a difficult one, because you could go either way. Like, you wouldn't want to. I'm not sure I would just cut him and leave him out there, because I would snag. If it was me, the first thing I'd be doing, I'd be fucking deleting every other waiver request and going and getting him and making sure that I got him and stashing him on my bench, because that's the way I play it. So that when it comes to the last 8 games, your team is primed. You've got everybody there. So that would be my strategy if that happened. Regardless of if I had my quarterback injured, I would still do the same move. In fact, I did have my quarterback injured. So yeah, I think it's a difficult one, but I would definitely be looking for something like a Jay Ajayi as a minimum, and probably another, just to give my team a bit more depth. But whether you would get that, it's all down trade. The hard thing about trades is it's all down to people's perspectives. Like you can argue away and against everything that gets done.
And there is also the whole taking advantage of the newbie, which Gav excels at.
That's not true. Play to win, brother. Yeah, that's.
So I think, looking at next week, I think we're done with our fantasy chat now. Yeah, anyone else got anything else they want to talk about fantasy? Gav always wants to talk about fantasy.
I'll rein it in.
You'll hang fire till next week.
So one thing we spoke about last week on our last preview episode was Jimmy G. He lost his first game.
He did
on Sunday,
and actually I think that's going to make him better.
He's got the Lions this weekend, also coming off a bit of a hounding.
I think they'll be fine. I watched the Vikings 49ers game on Sunday, like the full game. It wasn't like I was watching Red Zone and jumping all over the place. I just sat and watched a full game, which is the first time I've done in a long while. And the 49ers, even though they lost, they still did pretty good. But they lost to quite possibly the best team in the NFC. The Vikings were unreal good, like really scary, to the point that you're talking about people in the Vikings, and the person you're not mentioning is Kirk Cousins. Casey.
It's Casey and
the other way around. He was almost an afterthought because their defense played so well, and Cook looked all right when they were deploying him out.
They kept him quite quiet though, the 49ers, didn't they?
Because Latavius Murray came in and actually was pretty good at pushing the pile. And that front four of the 49ers, because you've got Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, who had 2.5 sacks and was brilliant in the first quarter. He was absolutely wrecking. Eric Armstead and whoever the fourth person is. They on paper should be brilliant as well, and they did. They started out the gate really well. So I'm not going to give up on the 49ers. They played really well actually, and I think I'm quite happy with them not being bottom of their division.
One thing that it did demonstrate for me in that game, I know Jimmy G didn't have the worst game in the world, but I think again you just seen that they are still limited on their offensive weapons. Kittle looked good. They looked like they had a good connection.
Yeah, that drop that he missed, man. If he just caught that could have been something.
But they look like they've got chemistry going.
Yep.
But they've only really got Garcon and Goodwin.
Is it Dustin Pettis?
Yeah.
He looked alright. I forget what his first name is, but Pettis, a wide receiver with the stupid hair. He was.
That doesn't narrow it down much.
He had put like sky blue, almost turquoise highlights, but it was only at the bottom of all his curls, and it just looked. It looked like it was clear. Maybe it was just like one of these rookie hazing things that you had to get through in training camp or something. I don't know. It was awful.
Yeah, so I think they just look like they're still missing like a go-to.
Yeah.
I think if you had like a number one like Allen Robinson, who looked like he was a big help for Trubinsky, sorry.
Yeah.
This game this week.
I know where you're going.
But yeah, I think that's what seems to be missing for the 49ers. But they, by all accounts, they look good. Especially that defensive line. It looks like that's their strength. So, anything else that we want to catch up on?
I've got a quick 2 minutes of just rambling all sorts.
Go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Denzel Ward, 2 interceptions in his rookie
God.
debut, so that was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Von Miller,
quite a few tackles as well, didn't he? Tackles and
I didn't like that.
I didn't see the tackles, but I remember seeing a highlight where he took someone down. And I was like, and I remember that the commentators were saying, fantastic start for him and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
They called him sticky hips or something. It was the
okay.
that they're talking about. So it like glue, as in he wasn't giving up any space. So that seems to have worked out really well for them, because a lot of people were not sure about taking him with the fourth.
Yeah, they
were
thought it was a bit early, wasn't it?
There's why didn't they take Chubb? There's sort of many other people that you'd thought were going to the Browns, and they took Ward.
Yeah.
But if he keeps, it's only week one. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there. TJ Watt got 4 sacks, as I said earlier. Khalil Mack was easily Defensive Player of the Week. Von Miller got 3 sacks. Buckner, as we said earlier, 2.5 sacks. It was awesome. Some great defensive performances in the
just
week.
to go back to the Browns for just 2 seconds, I think we've spoken about it a couple of times as well. Greg Williams being there, that I know he's obviously got a bit of a shady history with a few things, but
no, we don't talk about that now. That was 5 years ago now. He served his ban.
For anyone that doesn't know, he
Bountygate, yeah, he was putting bounties on targeting players, and if certain player got knocked out of the game, that defensive player got a bonus effectively,
which is not the right thing to do.
Just a little bit bad, and he got a hand slap. Yeah.
But the positive side of this, right? You're talking about the Browns fight. I think he instills that, not Hugh Jackson.
Yes.
Hugh Jackson's like scheming, playmaking, that sort of thing. Whereas
he's the nice guy. He's the friendly shoulder. And but I mean, you see in Hard Knocks, Williams will go through anyone. He does not care. Doesn't matter who you are. He's just like, you're fucking around. He's going to take your head off.
Yeah, and you saw that on All or Nothing when he was at the Rams as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that so that fight that we're talking about from the Browns, that is, in fact, last year as well, I think was his first year as defensive coordinator, and you could see that upward trajectory. And now I think they're just starting to take it that next level by having an offense that's going to give the defense a chance as well. And vice versa, it works in tandem, doesn't it? So that's good. TJ Watt to have more sacks than JJ Watt, yes or no?
Yes,
because JJ will break.
Ooh, I don't know if he would break. I just don't know if he's going to be quite what he was. And I think
he's always injured.
This last 2 seasons, the Pittsburgh Steelers on paper in theory have. Yeah, I think they might actually have more pieces to help, and they can kind of free up Watt a bit more. Yeah, whether it's just a 1 week wonder because it's the Browns, I don't know. But yeah, that's a pretty good shout. I think you could probably say TJ will end up with more.
JJ Watt.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, eh?
Is there not another one as well?
I think there is. He's a tight end. I can't remember who he plays for, but there is another one. I've seen his name before. I want to say the Colts, but I'm probably making that up. One other thing on the Tyrann Mathieu, when we're speaking about the Texans.
Yep, got a pick.
Yeah,
bastard. How you could have used him?
I was waiting to see whether you were going to drop that in earlier.
How
I half
you
forgotten
could have
about
used him
it.
at your cards, eh?
Fucking pay him.
Oh dear.
What was it, 7 mil? It wasn't even that.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
I know it's a 1 year flyer to get paid big mix.
But the Cardinals were going to have to pay him about 19.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, he was looking for a lot more money. I think he's.
Was he worth it?
He's on pace to get it next season. Well, yeah. You never say one team, one person's bigger than a team, but there's a few that are pretty close to trying to break that mold.
Yeah, there's a few that you should be, if they're on your roster, you should probably just tie them down and make the guys in the back office earn their buck.
Yeah,
because they always find a way. They do.
Oh, aye, totally. Yeah.
It's just when does it get too much? Any other hot takes to finish up?
I've got a quick 10 names on the injury list. I know Dr. Smith probably
doesn't have anything.
He hasn't got it right.
Down.
So Atlanta, Keanu Neal and Deion Jones hit IR. That's them out for the season.
And Freeman is potentially hitting IR today. today or tomorrow.
Oh, is he? Oh dear.
Oh my god, if you picked up...
if you've done that in 1 week, that's brutal. I mean, the two of them are bad enough, because your defence is massively depleted.
Is Keanu Neal out for the season?
Keanu Neal is, because it's his knees, ACL. Dion Jones might be able to return.
Oh my days.
Boomerang.
They're two best defensive players.
Yeah,
Is Tyreek Hill still there?
I can't remember where he went off the top of my head.
I think he is.
I don't know.
Because remember he threw that touchdown last year. That was amazing.
That was the year before, was it not?
Oh, was it the year before?
He was the Chiefs.
No, he did it with the Falcons as well. I'm sure he did.
I'm sure that because he was the.
You're gonna go find it.
Okay, let's just leave it. I'll just say
the heaviest player in the history of the NFL to throw.
I love him.
Probably, he's a good lad.
He is huge.
Titans, they lost Delaney Walker. The IR, Taylor Lamont got a concussion. Mariota's elbow's dodgy. They haven't got Conklin back yet from his ACL
I love
tear.
Taylor Lamont.
You do. You total fanboy over him. Nearly as much as Rodgers, and that's
is it the name Taylor?
Yeah, it must be actually. Tyrod Taylor Lewan.
The love child. Gav's in heaven.
Oh my days, Tyrod Taylor Lewan Rodgers.
Panthers have got Greg Olsen that's working through he's refractured his foot, so we don't know how long he's going to be.
He's done?
Is he not just being confirmed as being
He's out, he's gone.
If he is, it's only they'll probably do the 8 week though and bring him back for the end of the season, because it's early in the season. Some of these people aren't IR gone. Yeah, they're waiting to see.
He didn't look the same when he came back last year. He wasn't effective, wasn't being targeted as much.
Yeah.
I think he's coming to an end. Unfortunately, I liked Greg Olsen.
It's a shame when injuries derail the end of someone's career, because 2 seasons ago, I think his last full season, he was exceptional. They lost Darryl Williams, their tackle, as well. He's an IR for the season. Steelers, David DeCastro's fractured his hand.
Is that the offensive lineman?
Guard, yeah. Ben Roethlisberger's elbows a bit touch and go. They don't really know.
Does he have it anymore?
He don't have it anymore. We'll say it every week now.
He looked
Did he throw three picks?
Finished on, was it 9 fantasy points?
Whew. Oh, that's still better than Matt Ryan. I only got 8.7 from him. It's a fucking disaster. Seahawks, Doug Baldwin's out for a few weeks. He's got an MCL strain.
I would.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
Go. Stash him.
Hammy's dropped him.
Oh, is he?
Yep. So I went
pick him up and chuck him in the bench.
And again, this is only if you play it the way I play it. I'm not saying you have to do it. But
totally. No, that makes sense.
If you target
we said last week in the NFC divisional review that Doug Baldwin was likely the only person that Wilson really
and I can't even think of. I think Brandon Marshall got. Did he get 100 yards or did he get a touchdown? I can't remember.
I didn't think he did massive in yardage.
But yeah, Doug Baldwin, just if he's there, go get him. If someone makes that mistake, he's someone you should definitely stash your bench, because him and Wilson are just connected at the hips.
So they're going into the game this weekend without him against the Bears. So they could get shot.
There's defense.
Oh my days! Feel sorry for Russell. I already felt sorry for Russell Wilson. That feel even worse.
Packers, obviously Rodgers with his knee. That's the big story about what they're going to do with him.
I think they said he's fine though. I think.
Is he going to tough it out?
Okay. I'm scared though, because remember the last time they played the Vikings.
He got Anthony Barr broke his collarbone. Just wrecked him.
And they are a vicious defense.
Yeah. And Sheldon Richardson looks like he is added to that, because he was kicking arse at the weekend. That was something else.
And that actually, I think the Packers' offensive line isn't actually that good.
Do you think they're maybe sensible to rest him this week for fear of breaking him for the season and then bring him back next week?
No.
Okay,
I would still play him.
Texans, Central Henderson, tackle, got put on IR.
They've got a shit offensive line as well.
As it is before losing him.
We haven't spoke about Deshaun Watson.
No, he didn't do that great. We'll leave that for next week. We'll see if he bounces back. Kevin Johnson. That's it, just end of. Kevin Johnson, cornerback, went on IR from a concussion, but they're saying it's at least 6 weeks for a concussion. That's not good.
Because he was good for them.
Yeah, he's pretty decent. Patriots lost Jeremy Hill. His ACL gone for the season. Harsh. Eagles, Wentz is still a few weeks out, they reckon. They don't reckon he's Carson Wentz. They reckon he's still a few weeks before he comes back. It's not as quick as week 2.
And our other fantasy league, I forgot to sub him out.
Oh, ouch.
So that was a nice 0.
And then, as previously mentioned, we had Jags with Fournette's hamstring. So that's kind of the bigger injuries to.
There's already a pattern developing there with Fournette as well.
Dodgy hamstrings.
Yeah.
A lot of time injured last year.
Yep. If only someone picked up TJ Yeldon. Oh wait, they did. That was me. Now we're going to end.
And that is us for episode 14 of the American Fitbaw Cast.
That was an awkward ending.
Well,
Did I make it awkward? Probably.
You make everything awkward. I don't know why we tolerate you. You're not even fucking paid yet for your
do
subscription.
you know what we haven't mentioned?
Oh fuck.
We haven't mentioned our challenge league.
Oh shit.
Did we not look to earlier? Or was that before we hit record? We were talking about it.
Record,
Oh
we
Jesus,
looked at
right.
it.
We'll do that. We'll do that and then call it quits.
So yeah, we had 19 entrants.
Good
Thank you
effort.
to
Well
everyone.
played.
So,
That is
thank you everyone
outstanding.
for entering, and I had it on my phone, and I have.
Okay, so I know that I was 5th.
I am somewhere down the bottom. We know
I'm
that
11th.
in second last is Kev. We know you're listening, mate.
Harsh.
And Andrew's homely heroes are sitting one.
That's not you,
me,
Andrew. It's different
someone
Andrew.
else. So,
Better, Andrew.
Well
well done, Andrew.
Yep.
Is that what you say to yourself every night?
Yes. Yes.
I survived today.
Well done,
Well
me.
done. Pat in the back.
You've made it through another day.
So yes, thanks everyone for entering, and we'll keep track of that as the season goes. Find us on Twitter at the AFcast, on Facebook search the American Fitbaw Cast, and anyone else anything to say before we go?
What does DHD stand for?
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.